So you guys never trusted me to come up with a good cold open, but I feel like I have a question that I just need to ask everybody, and I think it will really break down the barriers between podcast and audience, and people will just get to know us better and stuff like that. And that's what I feel like we should be doing, guys.
We're not doing video with you with your pants off, David.
No. It's just I ask a question and you guys just tell me.
Yes, I've cried in the shower many times.
Okay.
Well, wearing jean shorts. Are you a never nude, Jose?
I really like where David's
going. Ben's with me. So guys, okay.
You know what? Because people, just to back your point up there, people aren't listening to this podcast because we're fucking like breaking the barrier and telling them things they've never thought of. They're listening to this. They're listening to this podcast because I don't know. What
I just got attacked by a moth. Sorry.
They're listening to this podcast because of us. They need to get to know us, and they need to like feel like they're part of this as well. So David's,
exactly, guys. So that's why I feel like I need to ask these questions to really break down those barriers.
No, I love answering American versus British questions. So
okay. So my question is: it's not an American versus British question. It is: when was the last time you guys shaved your nipples?
Never.
Hi and welcome to the We Need Rose podcast. It's been a while, gentlemen. Last episode we talked about all the latest trailers and casting news that broke. This episode we're going to tell you all what we've been watching. And, of course, as always, no spoilers. We want to keep this a spoiler-free zone.
I want to see a good, clean podcast. No spoilers below the belt.
I found out Ben knows karate today, so yeah, I'm quite threatened.
Only
by
today?
that.
Have you not been paying attention for the last fucking 6 months?
Did I know him 6 months ago?
I
feel like he's been around that long. Maybe 4.
I only knew about you doing yoga, but that's about it.
Yeah, see, the karate thing was a surprise. And he just threatened us, and now I feel actually threatened. Because he can back it up. He can back it up.
Yeah. I'm lucky I'm in a different country.
He has his ways, Jose. He has his ways.
What you think?
What belt are you?
I'm a 2nd degree black belt.
Oh, not okay. Then yeah, now you are serious.
He's just like, oh shit, the threat there. that's like.
I thought it was like maybe a yellow or orange belt. I don't know. Is orange even a belt?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Is it Dan? Is it 2nd Dan? Is that it? Is that a thing?
Degree Dan. Yeah, you can say
2nd Dan. See, I know. I don't do it, but I kind of know.
You can read.
All right.
all right. Well, the first thing I want to talk about on the show I've been rewatching, and I think you've been rewatching this as well, Ben, so you have. As this episode is recorded, Community has just left Netflix in the UK. Before I was able to finish my 5th or 6th complete rewatch.
6th season of the movie.
6th season of the movie.
Yes, sir.
And that is the reason it has left Netflix, is because it's gone back to Peacock, who are funding the movie that is hopefully being made at some point this year. However, we don't have Peacock in the UK.
We have actual peacocks.
We have actual peacocks, but not ones that I could like put a bunch of them together and then watch Community on them.
There's some wild peacocks down the road from me, actually. It's pretty cool.
Your mother's a peacock.
The peacocks are really pretty. That's a really nice thing to say. Thanks, Jose.
Well, actually, the pretty ones are male, but you know.
I was prepared to be bereft, right? Because I'd got up to the end of season 3. And I was like, no, there's like the Gas Leak season, and then seasons 5 and 6, and then there's a Yahoo Screen season, and then there's the one where Dan came back, and the Blu-ray is currently out of print in the UK as well. So I don't have Community anywhere. But thankfully, if you're in the UK, all 6 seasons are streaming for free, but with adverts, sadly, on ITVX. So there you go.
Yay!
Doesn't matter for you, Jose.
I
You've
feel
got
like
Peacock.
he was expecting a reaction from us then, because of the.
Honestly, thought that build-up you were going to say, in the UK, everyone's going to get a free DVD of all 6 seasons posted through your letterbox. Danny Pudi himself is going to deliver everybody, like Father Christmas, 6 seasons of Community. No.
I feel like at this point, Neil's lost his funny bone.
Yeah,
he completely ignored our karate talk. And just went straight into his.
Well, it's because he knows it's a podcast that's not about karate. So, I mean, he's just being sensible.
Although I'd like to maybe say, arguably, you saw the best of the first 3 seasons before it went away, so you might have just been done.
No, I disagree.
Yeah, hard disagree. On a rewatch, Jose. Community, yes. Season 1, 2, and 3 are superb. Season 4, though, isn't as bad as people make out. It's actually still quite
Nowhere
good.
near as bad.
And they did a really good job of just having to continuously shuffle the cast in seasons 5 and 6. After Donald Glover left, after Shirley left.
Chevy Chase.
What cast was left?
I think it's Abed, Britta, and Jeff and Annie. Yeah,
but they bring in Jonathan Banks from Breaking Bad, who is brilliant.
He's fucking excellent in that.
Oh, the Asian guy.
No, that's what?
I hope you said aging guy and not
no.
Asian guy.
He really didn't.
Asian guy. What's his name?
You meant Ken Jeong,
Jeong,
didn't you?
Ken
He's
Jeong.
still around.
Yeah.
So Ken Jeong was in most of it as well.
Yeah, he comes and goes, like John Oliver. John Oliver comes and goes in it as well.
No, he just was in the beginning. He
No,
wasn't.
he comes back at the end. Comes back at the end.
Does he?
I really want him
wow.
to be in the movie.
Yeah, I want
That
him
would
to
be
be.
awesome.
Fucking brilliant.
I'm just sad that Leonard's dead.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really fucking old though when it was done, though. To be fair, so
Yeah.
He was.
Well, yeah. So 6 seasons in a movie. Give us a movie, you absolute motherfuckers. Next up, Damsel, and a damsel in distress is this film. I saw. Oh, where do I start?
I'd like to say the trailer looked good, but according to Neil, that's about it.
Is this is the Millie Bobby Brown film, right?
Yeah, and not the Bobby Brown film.
Blah, 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 blah.
That's a whole different film. So I've started this film and I've still not finished it after 3 attempts because it was so goddamn boring when it gets to about 40 minutes in that I've fallen asleep twice. Forget all your hopes and dreams of this being like a Princess Bride kind of redux because you see, oh wait, Robin Wright's in the cast and she's a queen of a kingdom. And oh, Ray Winston's in it. And no, Ray Winston is still just playing Ray Winston. And the weird idea is that Ray Winston is a lord. He is Lord Bayford. And he's in need of a bit of extra money, so he must be a poor lord. And frankly, slumming it with him as Lady Bayford is Angela Bassett. I mean, hello, Wakanda Forever? She was amazing in that and Black Panther. And here, she gets literally jack shit to do as token wife of... I was like, what? Does she need the money?
Did she get an Oscar nomination for Black?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Wakanda
Yeah.
Forever? So she was fucking unreal in that movie.
She's always brilliant, and I just like, why would you be in? I guess like what they were sold versus what they got on this one really kind of differed.
Do you think? I think she got to set on day one and was just like, oh man, I made a mistake here, and then just went, you know what? I'll just deliver my lines and get paid. I'm out. See you later. Because even the trailer, I haven't watched this, but the trailer just looks fucking trash.
Mate, the idea is, like I said, you got Ray Winston and Angela Bassett. They have to sell off their oldest daughter, Princess Elodie, to be wed.
We've all had to
them.
do that.
I know. You got always sell off the oldest. I mean, it's better than the olden days when it was like murder the youngest, so the firstborn. But yeah, so now the oldest has got to be sold off, and they're going to get money from selling her off to the much better off Prince Henry. Fucking brilliant name there. Nothing against people called Henry, but come on, Prince Henry.
Really? Oh shit! I'm gonna have to change the baby name now.
Does that mean something to you?
only David if his name is actually Prince Henry.
Oh wow, Prince Henry Long.
No, that's confirmed now. Jose said it. And Prince Henry seems like a nice enough guy at the start. You go, oh yeah. And his clearly evil mother, Queen Isabel, played by Robin Wright. Look, the first half an hour or so of this film is so telegraphed. You know, oh, it's a poor family, but they're still kind of well off. It's really bizarre. Like, you do not feel for them at all because you're like, oh, so you're the poor rich family. Okay, that works really well in fantasy. Yeah, they're like lower middle class in this. Basically, they're just like wowed by all the rich kingdom people, and it's so obvious there's something afoot in it. I mean, the prologue does actually give the whole thing away, and we can talk about the prologue because literally it's before the title start, and you see. It's before the film starts. It's
but you just said it gives everything away.
Still part of the film.
Okay.
I vote for a veto. Who's with me?
I veto. I'm vetoing him.
I'm going to veto you in the face.
You're going to try, bitch.
In a rarity, I have still not finished this film because I've just had enough of. I'm like 40 minutes in, and I am just so bored of just seeing Millie Bobby Brown run around some tunnels trying to get away from a dragon. It's so dull, and honestly, I have no compunction. My friends, no compunction at all to go back and finish it. Compunctionless. I am compunctionless. Amazing. But from a film with rubbish dragons in it to a film with all the monsters in it that I fucking loved. This year's biggest collab is not from the music industry. It's from the Kaiju Monsterverse in Adam Wingard's Kong x Godzilla. And this is probably one of the easiest films to ever review without giving away any spoilers. Because we know Godzilla's fought Kong before, and we know at the end of that film they had that look of grudging respect, and you just know they're going to team up again to beat some other Titan ass in this film. Now, there are human characters returning from the previous films, but it's only Rebecca Hall's Dr. Andrews and her adopted daughter Gia. Alexander Skarsgård's clearly gone, I'm good with one big monster film. Millie Bobby Brown's, well, she's stuck in a mountain somewhere running away from a fucking crap dragon, and they clearly had enough kaiju excitement and have exited without a trace.
Hashtag crap dragon.
Brian Tyree Henry's conspiracy buff is back now, and he's got a slightly more successful podcast after the last film, which I loved his development, but no one believes him still because Monarch. Now, at the end of the last film, it was decided that Godzilla protects Earth while Kong gets Hollow Earth, but a dangerous new threat arises in Hollow Earth, and Kong needs the help of his scaly bestie Godzilla to take on new Titan threats down under, not Australia. There is one new human character brought into it, Trapper, played weirdly and really entertainingly by Dan Stevens, who is a pilot/Titan vet who previously worked with the director Adam Wingard before on The Guest, and there's also like a hint of a previous relationship with Rebecca Hall's character. But look, we're not here for human drama, and director Wingard realizes this and gives us just endless, amazing-looking kaiju beatdowns. Yes, there is even a WWE-style fight at one point where Kong full-on suplexes another Titan. There are massively long, extended, dialogue-free scenes of Kong's odyssey in Hollow Earth. And honestly, we can't be that far away from them going, do you know what? Do we actually need any stupid human characters in it? Can we just have a whole film with Kong beating ass down in Hollow Earth? Do it Planet of the Apes style. Like, they could honestly do it. They're so close to it. I was just about
to say Planet of the Apes.
Honestly, and this deserves to be on the biggest screen you can see it, and it's so entertaining. And this deserves to be on the biggest screen you can see it on, and it's just so entertaining knowing it's dumb fun. It's like a massive WWE Monster Mash SmackDown. If that's your jam and you enjoyed Godzilla vs. Kong, this is more of the same, but with a shorter runtime and more emphasis on the kaijus, less on human characters, and that's exactly what you want from this kind of film. Now, the last thing I want to mention is I saw a film called Drive Away Dolls in the cinema recently, which is from one of the Coen brothers, Ethan Coen, and it comes... Well, it does come a lot, actually, but that's part of the film. And it's one of the shortest, weirdest lesbian crime capers I think I've ever seen. So you've got the brilliant Geraldine Viswanathan and Margaret Qualley, and they star in true Coen Brothers styles as two mismatched lesbian friends, Marion and Jamie, who decide to leave behind their boring and problematic love lives in Philadelphia and go and rent a car and drive it off to somewhere else and get paid to do it. Marion's in a romantic dry spell, and Jamie seemingly is shagging everything in sight and then gets the boot from her girlfriend Suki, played by a scene-stealing Beanie Feldstein from Booksmart. And like I say, she's scene-stealing, man. She's so funny. And they decide to drive down to Florida. Hey, another film in your neck of the woods, Jose. Using a drive-away service, which I didn't know was a thing. So you basically you drive a car from one state to another for free, or to just get it there for someone else who owns it.
The only time I've heard of anything like this is when car dealerships actually do it, where if they need a car from one city to another, you get hired to drive the car so that way they can sell it. I think this is a play on that. I don't think this is like a realistic...
It's not a real thing. Okay.
No, why would you do it for free?
Or get paid? I don't know. I
think you get paid to do it.
Saves you, like, if you've got to go from like New York to Florida, and you haven't got any money to buy a bus ticket or a plane ticket.
I see what you're saying.
They'll just
makes sense.
They'll just pay your gas and you just go.
Although I don't know why they wouldn't just ship a car, but still.
Think of the planet, Jose. Think of the. Oh man, you're what's wrong with the universe.
Oh, giving you a quizzitive look. I don't know which one. He's either judging Jose or judging Neil.
I feel like what Neil said was wrong because you could put like 10 cars on a car transporter and just have the fuel for one truck, as opposed to driving 10 cars. So I feel like
that's what I was thinking.
But
you didn't say that, Jose, and I just had an image of one car going in a plane, and admittedly,
you didn't
that's
say
a
that, Jose, and Neil
image.
just assumed because you're American, you're wrong.
We're always wrong, right?
On the spelling front, he is.
You know what?
Getting back to Florida, where you coincidentally are running joke alert. We need Ben. We need a
That
running
has had
joke.
no context, I think, throughout the rest of the
Running
podcast.
joke. Somebody catch it.
Oh, no. Terrible. Look. In true Coen Brothers style, what happens? They get the wrong car with something in the boot and get bumbling bad guys coming after them. And look, this film has some really starry cameos in it. It's got Pedro Pascal, it's got Matt Damon, Coleman Domingo, and an even uncredited Miley Cyrus. But this is
No way.
all... Yeah, she's uncredited. But I was like, oh, it's Miley Cyrus. But this is all Vissa Wanfan's film. Her deadpan, repressed delivery plays gangbusters against Quali's more free-spirited and chaotic Jamie. Originally, this film was also titled Drive Away Dykes, but the title was slightly neutered. As you can guess, the studios probably wanted to play down the gayness of the film, which is a shame because honestly, it should be celebrated and used more, I think, because the film is so unabashedly gay and hilarious. How much of a better title is Drive Away Dykes anyway? More people will go and see that film
100%
than Drive Away Dolls. If they were worried about people not going to see it because it's called Drive Away Dykes, but they call, okay, well, it's Drive Away Dolls, I guarantee you, if you were homophobic, you would be out of this film within the second scene. Like, the way this film kicks in, you're like, it's going to be this kind of film, okay. You either buckle in for the ride or you're like, oh no, I'm a horrible person and deserve to not be allowed out of the house or basement.
Hey.
And so, as I've said, I really enjoyed the central two performances and the bumbling hitman. But the sad thing is, this feels like a photocopy of an earlier Coen Brothers film, like Fargo or Raising Arizona. It's that madcap road adventure movie. But it just feels like a not as good retread of the earlier classics, despite those really two good central performances. I think the film just gets away with it. For me, I saw some really sniffy reviews of it. You're just like, oh, it's like half as good as the kind. It's only 84 minutes long.
Wow.
So
That's
it
really
just
short.
breezes through. There's like no fat on the bones of this film. It does feel a little bit flimsy, and actually, I would have been quite happy if the film had been a bit longer because of the short runtime. But then again, hey, do you know what? For me, it's just above fine. I wouldn't go and run and see it at the cinema because it's gone already because it wasn't out that long. But when it comes on the streaming, if you've got a spare like hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 24 minutes.
I like that.
That's not even bad. I'm so bad at maths. If you've got 84 minutes, go and watch this because it's a fun little ride and two really good performances in it.
Great job. Although you were correct with the math, an hour, 24 minutes.
Yes. Jose, what have you been watching?
Well, let's start with Netflix because that seems to be the streaming side of choice. I do tend to watch a lot of easy 30-minute shows. But one of them was this, I'm just going to say it now, a glass-blowing show called Blown Away. It's 4 seasons in. It's really easy to watch a couple episodes here and there. It's kind of like any other competition show. They start off with a certain amount of people, and they narrow it down throughout the season. I watch it mostly just because it's a creative outlet, so I don't have to think about it much. I watched another show called Car Masters from Rust to Riches. But Car Masters from Rust to Riches is just a car show where they trade in lower cars and they try to trade up. It's changed its format a bit because it's also I think 3 or 4 seasons in, and they're trying to play themselves off as a high-end car modification show now, which I don't think it is as fun. But I think it's when shows evolve, they have to go somewhere. And then, to be honest, the real thing I was really enjoying with Netflix is being able to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It just came on, so it's almost like a way to replace Community. It's such a good show, and I realized that I saw the first season, but I missed like the second and third episode, so I was able to really catch up on that again.
I thought you were going to say second and third seasons. I was like,
no. I saw the first episode, and then I missed a couple weeks, and then I caught up like 4 or 5 episodes in. I didn't realize I missed the second and third, so it was just really nice to see it again, and it's really fun to see. They had the characters almost spot on right from the beginning. There were some tweaks here and there, but it's just really fun. And then I wrapped up Blue-Eyed Samurai on Netflix as well. That was a little farther back. I also watched the first episode of Shogun, which is great. I mean, we're going to talk about that later. On Amazon Prime, I finished watching Invincible.
Oh, yeah, me too, Jose. As we record this, the finale was
yesterday.
Night as we record this, yeah.
And I mean, I like the episodes. I think just the way, 2 things that Neil mentioned earlier in a separate conversation, splitting it up really kind of killed the momentum of the season. And the second is I think the order of things really needed to be changed around because every episode is pretty good. Honestly, there's no real bad episodes, but it just doesn't lead anywhere. It doesn't feel like there's a climax, so to
It
speak.
doesn't have the same propulsion as season 1, did it? You know, season 1 was about
Exactly.
Mark, and you had, you know, whether you have that shocking scene with Omni-Man at the end of is it the first episode?
First episode, yeah. That's what
And
drew
then
me in.
that whole series is, when is everyone else going to find out what he did? How's his family going to react? That's the builder, and that arc takes place over the course of the whole season. There's more storyline. Without, as I said, we're not going to get into spoilers, but there's a lot more different storylines going on in season 2. And like we said, where it broke into 2 parts, it's only 8 episodes a series as well. So you had 4. They did all this big setup in the first episode for stuff, and then kind of reset to the status quo of what we expected the show to be, and then brought back that stuff for the finale. And I was like, I was kind of just like, it's a bit of a shame, because like you say, it felt a little bit disjointed and not as wholly overall propulsive. I mean, individually, episodes were great, and voice cast amazing, but there was nothing that truly shocked me in it as much as season 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. There's some really good stuff that happened in each episode. It didn't have a cohesiveness that brought it all together. And then I watched 3 Body Problem, which was actually I was hesitant to even start it, but my brother-in-law wanted to watch it, so I saw the first episode. I gotta say, even though I know that it doesn't really pick up until the 3rd episode, I'm in. That's the simplest. And the last but not least, by far, X-Men 97 is on Disney for us Americans here. Disney Plus. X-Men 97, I'm going to say one thing. It's about damn time Cyclops gets the respect he deserves. The first scene, he kicks ass, and I'm so happy about it. Done.
Yeah, I've got into this as well, man, Jose, because I had a friend who recommended. He's like, you got to watch X-Men 97. I was like, but I didn't watch the original series. He's like, it doesn't matter, just watch it. And I'm all in. I'm up to date, all 4 episodes in of the new series so far, and I'm loving it, man.
And that's it. That's it for me. I'm spent.
And I'm spent. David, what have you been watching? Oh.
Okay, so the main things that I've been watching are shows that we're going to all collectively watch at later episodes. So if you're interested in wanting to hear our thoughts on Roadhouse, on The 3 Body Problem, and on Shogun, you can check out next episodes coming up in the next 3 or 4 episodes, Neil?
Month or so.
In the next month
Basically,
or so.
when these shows have finished their main runs, so stuff like Shogun is on week by week. 3 Body Problem you can watch all of now. We're going to do an episode on The Gentleman as well coming up. We're going to be doing an episode on Extraordinary Season 2. So there is a lot of stuff coming up that we really want to get into detail on. But obviously, they're such good shows that we want everyone here to chat about it and everyone to catch up on it.
Exactly, yeah. So I've been watching Shogun, Extraordinary Season 2 as well. And the only other thing that I can talk about now that we're not going to be talking about in a later episode is the wife has really into her police crime forensic shows. And there's a new BBC show that you can watch on BBC iPlayer and BBC America, I'm going to go ahead and assume, Jose, called Forensics, the Real CSI. And it is your typical sort of forensic show, I suppose, where you'll follow a West Midlands police, it is, and you'll follow a real crime from start to finish, basically. And one of the most interesting things about this is you see the crime, or some of the crimes actually happen, albeit through, sometimes it's like CCTV evidence or something like that, and you can see the crime taking place. For instance, there's a jewelry robbery, which is quite interesting to watch, and there's a fire that breaks out at a factory, which is also quite interesting to watch. But then there's other crimes that you don't see happen. For instance, child rape is one of the crimes that happens in the show, which the forensics goes into on that. And it's genuinely a really interesting show, and I found it fascinating because my wife's job is basically one whole episode. Like her, so not her specifically, she's not in the show, but her job is in the show.
I'm glad you cleared that up, man.
So yeah. So
she's on the good guys team, though, right? She's not.
Yeah. So she's
Okay,
my wife works for Kent Police. So her role is in the show, basically, and specifically the episode called "Catching a Paedophile." It is her, but yeah, basically her entire job is, and she's the person in the episode is the main forensic lead on collating the main evidence to catch this paedophile, and that's my wife's job. So I found that really interesting. So I getting this real insight into her day-to-day life, which you don't get to see or hear about, because a lot of the stuff I don't really want to hear about because her job is catching paedophiles, and you don't really want to hear about that sort of stuff coming home from work, and she doesn't really want to talk about it. So it's interesting to see that. And it's like crazy that you see how fucking smart and intelligent she is. I'm like, she comes home to my dumb ass every day.
You said it.
You know,
You said
you're
it.
like, it's crazy. But the show as a whole, as from a forensics, if you're in any way interested in forensics, is genuinely fascinating. How the police collate the crime and collate all the evidence for the convictions. Me and my wife have had like slight, I wouldn't say arguments over the show, maybe like disagreements.
Are you reluctant to call them arguments because you lost?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I understand.
because it's mainly based on how the police want to go for a conviction on somebody, which is something I think I needed to change my opinion of. Because, for instance, if me and Ben got into a fight, and it became quite physical, because Ben's a second Dan in karate, which we found out today, he would probably kill me. So let's say he throws a punch and he kills me, right? The police would then go for a murder conviction on you, whereas
Sounds
in my head that's not. What conviction would you think that is, though? That wouldn't be murder, would it? There'd be more manslaughter, right?
Well, I don't know, because I'm trained, and I think the difference is that if it was me against
maybe you
trained...
were a bad example then. Maybe Jose, yeah. But anyway, that's that. So we've had arguments on that. So say like if it's clearly an accident, but the police will go for the highest conviction they could possibly get to take to the Crown Prosecution Service instead of going for what's the reasonable one. So maybe that's yeah. So that's more of like something that I need to get my head around, which is quite fascinating from a policing perspective. And the other thing that annoys me about the show is once you've clocked onto the fact, so the whole build up is like they find the suspect, and then it's whether the suspect's going to get charged or anything at the end of it. And it's so obvious whether the subject will or will not have been charged at the end of the show based off whether you can see their face.
Oh,
if the face is clear, they've obviously been charged.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If if you can see but if their face has been blurred throughout the entire show, then they've obviously not been, they've not been found guilty. So it's just
funny.
It's just really obvious.
I like how when you started telling us about that show, David, it was really goddamn dark, and we got a little bit of laughter at the end of that. So I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad you brought it back up again.
Well, no, it's genuinely an interesting show. You should, if you're interested in forensics in any way, and you've got 40 minutes a day to spare, check it out.
Yeah, you've sold that on me, man. I think that I'm really interested in that. That genuinely sounds really good.
What I also got from that is that if Ben kills you in a fight, your wife also knows how to get rid of your body.
Yes.
If I ever go missing, I'm
it's not because I've killed him. God.
She has the forensic awareness to.
Yeah, but she's forensic awareness, Ben. She can literally plant it on you when Jose did it.
I love that the only person that hasn't killed David in this analogy is Neil so far, and he's the most likely person to do it.
He's the most likely person.
It's like the episode of Community, Remedial Chaos Free, when Jeff throws the dice, and it's a 6-sided dice, and there's 7 of them, and he goes, whoever gets a number, 1 to 6, and he does it because he never has to go and do it
think he was just planting the idea that everybody else wants to kill me when you're going to secretly do it.
Yes. I didn't almost kill you, but I threw a bottle once in the office and it bounced and hit you, didn't it?
Oh. It did, and we had to have serious words. We had to have
an actual serious word conversation.
I actually had to take you aside and talk to you about your behaviour in the workplace.
I was very angry at the time.
Yeah, that was fun.
That reminds me of an American Cruise person.
Neil's adorable when he's angry. Christ. It's funny.
All right, so for the record, I did a quick Google search. It says network BBC 2, or I could watch it on Sky Go, which I think is UK.
Yeah,
so I don't know. UK, I don't know if you can watch it in America legally, so that we'll leave it at that.
Which is ironic because it's a show about crime.
What I've been watching recently, the usual slew of stuff that we are going to talk about. I've been watching 3 Body Problem, The Gentleman, Shogun, Renegade Nell, loads of other stuff, movies and everything galore. But a couple of things I really want to talk about, things that have really, as we're recording this episode, have just dropped. And the first one is Ripley on Netflix.
Ooh,
it's Andrew Scott plays what Matt Damon, sort of made famous in The Talented Mr. Ripley. He plays Tom Ripley. It's Dakota Fanning plays the love interest Marge Sherwood, and Johnny Flynn plays Dickie Greenleaf. Now, these are the three main characters in the book and in the movie. I've only watched like the first episode. I think pretty much all of it has dropped, or at least the first few episodes have dropped on Netflix. It is slow burn, edgy, dramatic. Ooh. It's black and white. It is dripping with like suspense and the way they like really just draw everything out is like, for me, like it would normally be frustrating as hell. Like I'm like, you know, I'm a sci-fi guy. I would just want I want everything delivered to me on a plate as soon as possible, and then I want phasers to go off and lightsabers to be swung. But this put it on, and I was just like, I just found myself just staring at the TV, just like riding the wave and the pace of it, and really just being like drawn along by this story, which I think it's not told as clearly, like straight away, as the movie version, or I imagine it's more like the book. But Andrew Scott is fantastic, like just hands down, flat out fantastic. Like he carries everything. The whole series is on his shoulders, and you feel that from like the first couple of scenes. And you really get to grips with this, with his character quickly. He's, you know, you feel like he's this guy that's just trying his luck and doing his best to sort of like make his way in a world. And it's period as well, so it's set back. I don't actually know when it's set, but it is period. So it's like it's set in the past of, I want to say
1960s,
60s, yeah, plot time frame 60s. It's just great. Like, I don't think that it's spoilers or not. Like everybody's pretty much seen The Talents of Mr. Ripley, and it is exactly the same story. However, this takes its time because it's a series. It breathes nicely, and if like I would encourage people to watch this, even if you're not into that kind of slow burn, dramatic, kind of stylized show. This does it with a really modern sensibility, and like I said, has really dragged me along for the ride, and I didn't even realize I was there. It's fantastic so far.
I'm definitely going to start it myself this weekend, because how many parts is it? Only a 4-parter, isn't it? Or is it?
I believe it's 4 parts. Yeah, I literally stuck it on yesterday because I was like, oh, I'll give this a watch, and it instantly hit me, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic.
So far from your one episode, is Andrew Scott better than Matt Damon?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel that was an easy question, to be fair.
I mean,
hey, we all like Matt Damon. Damon.
Okay, so but in the context of what we're talking about, like I think yes, he's better because he gets more time. He's allowed to spread his wings a little more. I think if you put Andrew Scott in Matt Damon's role in The Talent of Mr. Ripley, I don't think he'd fare as well. And I think the same is true vice versa. I think if Matt Damon was in this series, yes, he'd be good, but I don't think he'd be as good as the way he portrayed him in the movie, because the style of actors that they are really suit those parts in those mediums.
Quick Andrew Scott thing. All of Us Strangers is on Disney Plus now, which was the film I raved about a few episodes back.
I really want to see that.
Oh,
It's on Disney Plus now, so get it, man.
Bring tissues.
Amazing.
For crying.
And the other thing... all right. Bring tissues for spilling drinks. That's as far as I'm taking this. I'm going to shut it down right now. All right. So and the second thing that I'm watching right now, from Sci-Fi Corner over here, is Star Trek Discovery. It's just dropped. I think Paramount Plus has just dropped it, and the first 2 episodes are out, and it pretty much picks up where the last season
ended,
dropped off. I want to say dropped off because it didn't really. I think it ended. It was fine.
This
was
is
great.
the forced last season, right? They were at least given the chance to wrap things up in this season, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think this is the final Discovery. And no spoilers, but it's the typical cast. You've got Sonequa Martin Green as Michael Burnham, Doug Jones as Saru, Anthony Rapp is in there. I mean, I could go through the whole cast, but it's basically the same cast. They do they bring people back? Maybe. Do they get rid of some people? Probably. But it's already started a lot stronger for me than season 4. And the premise of this series, I think they've taken a bit of a leaf out of Picard's storytelling idea, and they've gone
Which
with
series of Picard?
it's season 3.
Okay, good.
So they've gone taken not lifted the idea of it completely, but they realize that there's a lot of lore that they can like use and lean on, and for me they've made a really quite clever decision about where the plot's going this year, and how that whole fits together. But so far, like it's been like it comes out swinging. It's fun. It's it's never going to be
Strange New Worlds.
It's never going to be Strange New Worlds. It's never going to be Picard. But in the absence of anything else, I'm like, this is a really good like Star Trek Band-Aid that I will enjoy watching until
Strange New Worlds season 3.
So still Strange New Worlds comes back. Yes.
So here's a question for someone who maybe just watched a few episodes of the first season, or maybe just the first season alone.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth going through if they have the time?
I think you'd get more out of a show like Strange New Worlds. I think if you liked Discovery, and you were just fine with it, I would switch gears and I would go to Strange New Worlds. I would go to Picard. I would go to some of those other properties. If you watched Star Trek Discovery season 1 and was like, this is the shit, then absolutely dig through it and get to season 5, because like I say, it's come out swinging. It's pretty rad.
I enjoyed season 1. I really liked season 1 with the whole mystery figure thing that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was I was a bit more on season 2, and then I think
season 2 was weak.
Season 2 or season 3, the one with the time jump.
Yeah.
And I just tapped out in that season. I just didn't even bother finish watching it, and I've not gone back.
So I really enjoyed that. So that time jump where the Discovery goes forwards in time. I mean, that might be a enormous spoiler.
I mean, I think we knew the
not.
time jump, but we don't know anything else beyond that.
Yeah, it's not spoiling season 5, which is like the new one.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. So like the time jump, I really enjoyed the juxtaposition of some like old school like Starfleet meeting up with the way in the future Starfleet beyond like the Next Generation, beyond DS9. I really thought that was great because there was a lot of things. I'm trying not to spoil it as I talk now, but like there's a lot of things where they could have gone like really kind of over the top with it, and I think they wrangled it pretty well. And I feel like the cast sits in that time zone better because they stay there, and that's kind of important for the push through of where we get to now. So I'm enjoying it so far. Like, is it going to jump the shark? Probably. Am I going to find myself still watching the whole thing and then forgetting it the second Strange New Worlds comes out? Absolutely. But it's fun to watch right now.
Oh, so it's actually fun. That's good to hear.
But it's not as much fun as Strange New Worlds, Jose. So I mean, that's
I'm fully aware of the comparison.
That's the funniest. That's just the most fun Star Trek ever.
One year, I will just watch and binge all of the Star Trek content ever, just to understand what you guys are talking about.
It would take.
I don't think you could do a year. Yeah,
it would take me longer than a year.
David, your entry point is Star Trek: Strange New Worlds season 1. That is your entry point to it.
Over like the original Star Trek films.
Yes, because it's set before the original Star Trek.
But wouldn't that be cool to? Okay.
No, trust us. Trust us. Yeah.
Because you'll be like, oh, this is you're just like, especially with you like loving your sci-fi and fantasy. Not as much, I think you'll dig it, man. You'll like really enjoy it, and you'll be like, I've been missing this all these years. And then you look at some of the older ones, and go, oh, it's a bit old and crap now. Some of them but. I mean, we've gone through this. There was a previous episode, I think, before Ben and Jose, you were here, where I literally spent half the episode just explaining to David what order we should watch Star Trek in and why. And he's clearly took no note at all, because he's still not. Well, guys, that about rounds us off today on our shorter episode, because it's just nice to have a shorter episode sometimes.
And there's so much to talk about.
So much to talk about, but in detail and coming soon, which we will have. So I'd like to say thanks to Jose for coming today.
You're welcome.
David.
Thank you, Neil, for hosting us. You're a great host, and I don't think you get the credit you deserve.
Okay, now you're just making me look bad.
Yeah, I wanted. Yeah. That was the plan all along.
And I'd like to thank Ben.
I'm suspicious of David and why he's creeping on you so much. Did you just win the lottery?
I have ulterior motives, yes.
Yeah, I fucking thought so.
It is a Friday night, and I do play the Euro Millions, so yes, maybe.
Oh.
Well, that's all the time we got, guys. We'll see you next time.
We needed roads.